Hi there, this is Nicole Dyer at Family Locket, and in today's Research Like a Pro question and answer video, we are talking about how to prepare for an on-site research trip and some of the research planning that could be done in advance. And so some of the steps are the same as the Research Like a Pro process: research objective, timeline and analysis of starting point information, and locality research. So I hope you enjoy this quick video, which is an excerpt from our recent Research Like a Pro office hours session. So we'll go ahead and get started with the monthly tip, which is about research planning and specifically focusing on planning research to be done on site. And in this day and age, when we have access to so many records online, we sometimes don't have enough time to even get through all the records we find online, let alone consider going to an on-site facility where we might have to travel. But it is so important to consider doing that. And when we have a really focused research question, it helps us to narrow down exact localities and places and records that we need to answer that question, making on-site research seem more necessary and needed. So the steps to getting ready to create a research plan to visit an on-site research facility are to create a research objective. And so these are just the beginning steps of the whole Research Like a Pro process. And so if you are going to happen to be near a research facility and you want to visit, I highly suggest figuring out a research objective that has a person relevant to the place you're going to be visiting. And I'll share an example of that later. The other way around is like you're doing a research project and you want to find an answer to a research objective you've already chosen, and you realize you need to go visit an on-site research facility to find the records that will answer the question. And that happened to me last year as I was working on my kinship determination project for certification, where I realized that one of the localities that was really important to two of my generations in a three-generation family narrative were that locality had basically no digitized records at Family Search like I was used to, where my other localities had deeds and tax records digitized. This one had none of that. So I realized I needed to go there. So when you have a research objective, it really helps you to know where to go and what to look for. And then, of course, timeline of known information. This is so important because you need to know when your person lived there. Otherwise, you'll spend a lot of time looking in irrelevant record collections and books. So you need to really nail down exactly when they arrived and when they left and any other timeline information you can. So once you have those known localities they lived in, then creating a locality guide for those pertinent locations helps you to understand everything you need to know about researching there, such as the locality formation dates and the previous jurisdictions. And that part's really important because you don't want to be looking in the wrong jurisdiction if the place they lived in and for that county was previously part of another place and the record you need is that other place. And then extant record collections and repositories holding them. So this is the main thing we need to know is which records are online and which records are still existing but not online, and which repositories have these records that are still existing but not online. And often it can be a bit challenging to figure that out, but a lot of time you can look on the repository's website and figure it out that way. So once you've done the objective, timeline, and locality guide, then you're ready to create a research plan because you've already kind of figured out where these extant record collections are held. And so in your research plan, you can note which record types are online and which are only at the on-site facility, whether it's a courthouse, library, or archive. And you can also go online to review that library's online catalog if they have one. Sometimes they don't have one, but you can at least read the webpage that they have where they talk about visiting us and learn about the research procedures. And libraries will usually have a catalog and a visit us webpage, and archives often too. And the final step in research planning for on-site facilities is to call the facility and check for any unlisted closures and ask your questions just to find out if you're fully grasping how the research works there. And I'll share an example of that too in a minute. But this step is really important just because even if we do a lot of this, all of this pre-work, sometimes we really can only find out a challenge that we need to overcome or understand how we need to access records by calling and talking to a person and asking our questions.